Most developers assume you need expensive API credits and a beefy cloud server to benchmark AI models seriously. One developer proved that wrong with $25 a year and a list of 15 completely free models. The results were not what anyone expected. George Larson set up a bare-bones VPS, the kind of server that costs less than a Netflix subscription annually, and gave 15 free AI models one job: build real, working software. Not toy examples. Not hello world. Actual deployable code with real constraints. HTTP servers, file parsers, CLI tools. The kind of tasks you would actually pay a developer to do. The benchmark was deliberately brutal. Each model got the same prompts, the same environment, the same resource limits. No handholding, no retries with better prompts. Just raw output evaluated on whether the code actually ran. Here is what makes this interesting. The models that dominated paid benchmarks did not dominate here. Some of the most hyped names in AI produced code that either failed to run, hallucinated dependencies that do not exist, or generated solutions that technically compiled but broke on any real input. Meanwhile, several smaller, less discussed models quietly shipped working code on the first try. What it actually does is give you a ranked comparison of 15 free models, including models from Mistral, Meta, Google, and others, tested on practical software engineering tasks. Not summarization. Not creative writing. Building things. The evaluation is automated, each model's output gets executed in an isolated environment, and the score reflects whether the code works, not whether it looks plausible. The setup runs entirely on a VPS you can spin up on DigitalOcean for a few dollars a month. No GPU required. The models are accessed through free API tiers, meaning the entire lab costs almost nothing to replicate. That is the point. This is a benchmark anyone can run, not just teams with research budgets. But here is the thing. The benchmark has real limits you need to understand before trusting it. The tasks, while practical, are still relatively contained. A CLI tool is not the same complexity as a full-stack application with authentication, database migrations, and edge case handling. Models that score well here might still struggle when the problem requires holding context across dozens of files or reasoning about existing legacy code. There is also no measurement of iteration quality. In real development, you rarely accept the first output. You prompt, you refine, you push back. This benchmark scores first attempt success only, which is a clean metric but an incomplete picture of how useful a model actually is in a real workflow. And the free tiers themselves are a moving target. 3 months from now, some of these APIs will have new rate limits, new models, or discontinued free access entirely. The specific rankings you see today may not hold. What could this realistically become? The infrastructure is already there. The logical next step is continuous benchmarking. Automated runs every week so you can see how models improve or regress over time as providers push updates. Right now it is a snapshot. A living leaderboard would be genuinely useful for developers trying to pick the right model without spending money on evaluation. Another plausible direction is expanding the task types. Right now the focus is greenfield code generation. Adding tasks like debugging broken code, refactoring for performance, or writing tests for existing functions would reveal a completely different set of model strengths. Some models that fail at generation are surprisingly strong at analysis. There is also an argument for community submissions, letting developers add their own real-world tasks to the benchmark suite. Crowdsourced difficulty is harder to game than a fixed task list, and it would make the results more representative of actual developer workflows. So why does this exist? Because the official benchmarks are broken for practical use. Human Eval, MBPP, SWE-bench, these are designed by researchers for researchers. They measure things that are important academically but often diverge from what a working developer actually needs to know. Which free model will help me ship a feature today without burning through my budget? That question does not have a clean answer in any official leaderboard. George built this because he wanted a real answer for his own work, and he published it because the answer was surprising enough to be worth sharing. The underdog finding that some lesser-known free models outperform heavily marketed ones on real tasks is exactly the kind of result that gets buried in official benchmarks but matters enormously to developers making practical choices. If you are evaluating AI coding tools for your own stack, this benchmark is one of the most honest starting points available. Not perfect, but honest. And built for $25 a year, which makes it hard to dismiss. Next episode, we are looking at a tool that takes this a step further: automated code review using local models, no API keys, no data leaving your machine. If you want to know which local model actually catches real bugs versus which ones just sound confident, subscribe so you do not miss it.